Hey everyone, right off the bat, this is going to be a little different compared to what you're used to seeing on my channel. Normally I post heavily edited and scripted video essay style content about stuff I find interesting. I'm actually working on a new video right now, but I had some downtime and decided to go check out the newest film from a filmmaker I've been a fan of for quite some time. It's very early as I'm recording this and my brain is kind of all over the place with thoughts about it that I just kind of want to get out, and I thought, well, I have a YouTube channel, I might as well record some of those thoughts while I have them. I made a community post not too long ago asking my subscribers what they thought of the recent Mario movie, and that post was kind of me feeling out how people would react to me discussing more recent movies, and I've enjoyed some of the back and forth there, so I thought I'd put my unfiltered thoughts on Beau is Afraid out there for you. This is unscripted and kind of laid back and also will not contain any spoilers for the film. This is just my thoughts and opinions unfiltered as they come to me. Maybe you'll get something out of it, maybe you won't. Maybe you'll like this video and want me to make more like it, and maybe I'll never do something like this again. Who knows, I'm sure you'll let me know what you think. So Ari Aster is a filmmaker I've been a fan of for quite some time now. My Halloween video from last year included Hereditary as one of the biggest recommendations in that video, and I still stand by that film being a modern horror masterpiece. A lot of that coming from the incredible performances of the actors within the film, which I think is one of Ari Aster's biggest strengths. He's able to get from his actors these incredibly big emotions that are just captivating and amazing to watch. Toni Collette is amazing in Hereditary under his direction, and Florence Pugh is also phenomenal in Midsommar. So pairing Ari Aster with someone like Joaquin Phoenix, who I think is probably the best actor working currently, is something that I wasn't going to pass up to see in theaters, and I'm so glad I didn't. Joaquin Phoenix is one of those actors that really steps into the roles that he's playing, always transforming himself in just little ways, whether it be mannerisms or facial tics or the way that he slurs when he talks. He's an actor that's completely different in every single role that I see him in, and he's the best part of every movie that he happens to be in. In the hands of a very talented director, he's elevated even more, and I think that is so the case with Beau is Afraid. Every single actor in this film is very, very good under Ari Aster's direction. They all play their very offbeat, strange roles exactly as they're intended to be played in this film's world, which I guess is a really good segue into the kind of film that this is. This is a very different movie for Aster. It's a different genre, a different tone, a different feel entirely. I don't know if I would call this a horror film. There are definitely horrific sequences in this movie and disturbing moments, but also it's weirdly funny. It's been labeled as a tragic comedy, and I think that's an appropriate title for what this is, but really it's a unique film all to itself. There's really nothing out right now that's quite like it, and that's the biggest compliment that I can give it, is that it is very proudly its own beast. Ari Aster got to make the movie that he wanted to make, and I love seeing wide releases for filmmakers that get to just experiment and have fun making the movie that they want with really no influence from a studio or producer or someone trying to change their vision. Everything in this movie is open to interpretation, and people are going to leave with their own thoughts and theories as to why certain things happened the way that they did, and why the characters act the way they do, why the world is shown to be the way that it is. This is not your standard reality that Ari Aster has displayed in his previous films. Like, for example, Hereditary takes place in a relatively normal world where normal people that are traumatized but still normal people encounter strange things. Beau is Afraid is a world where this troubled main character lives in an insane world that we are seeing from his point of view. The main character struggles with high anxiety, and everything around him reflects the way that he sees the world through his anxiety. I've heard this movie so far in reviews that I've read and videos that I've watched as being described as Kafkaesque, and I feel that's very appropriate for the kind of world that we are shown here. It's very surreal and very nightmare-like, which is even crazier whenever there are actual dream and nightmare sequences that take place in this already strange world. It's definitely an environment where you feel like anything can happen, and a lot of things do, over a pretty long runtime. This movie sits right under 3 hours long, and you do feel that runtime, and usually I think that's an issue with movies that are very very long. Like, if I feel the runtime of the film, like if I feel like it's going on for a very long time and I'm looking at my watch, I think that's a sign that the film is not interesting enough to keep me captivated for those 3 hours. And I did feel the length of Beau is Afraid, but I wasn't checking the time because I was genuinely fascinated by what was going on in this world and with this character, that I was waiting to see what was going to happen next. So while I did feel that the movie was going on a bit long, I never got bored with it because I didn't quite know what was going to happen minute to minute. I'm not really going to give a plot synopsis as to what happens in this movie, not only because I don't want there to be any spoilers, but also because I think it's best to go into this movie blind. There is a story that's happening, but what's more important than the story is the emotions that you feel from each scene and how you interpret some of the visuals and dialogue choices and story moments that happen. Speaking of the visuals, the cinematography in this film was fantastic. There were some very clever match cuts and camera angles that they used to convey certain emotions. My favorite sequence of the film visually actually involves a combination of live action and animation. I love watching Ari Aster go full surrealist in some of these sequences like that, using the visuals to communicate the themes of the story. The two biggest themes of the film I found were themes of anxiety and guilt, as well as the recurring motif found in a lot of Aster's work that deals with parental relationships, specifically really toxic, abusive parental relationships. And I really enjoy that he focused on these themes with visuals and character moments rather than the actual moment-to-moment plot. With that said, there actually is a story in this movie, and I do think one of my biggest issues is that story, specifically a moment in the third act involving a character that we never see throughout the entire film, but is all of a sudden used as a plot device to reveal a sort of twist that happens towards the end, and I feel that the flashbacks that they show of this character would have better served the actual story and narrative had they been placed at the beginning of the film or towards the middle, rather than right before the big reveal of the twist at the end. As weird and strange as this movie is, and it is very, very weird, I want to stress, this is not a normal, typical mainstream film. This is a rare instance where a director's artsy passion project that they are clearly passionate about gets a wide release and a big budget, and I think that's my favorite thing about this movie outside of the actual filmmaking of it, is the fact that it even exists and got a wide release, and I do hope it does well, although I'm not sure if it's going to. There are definitely going to be some people that see this movie that absolutely hate it, and I totally understand that reaction. There's some stuff here, especially towards the end, that's really, really weird and really disturbing and crazy, but also made me laugh at the same time. This is a very strange movie, and again, I just love that Ari Aster got a $35 million budget to make whatever the hell he wanted and got it in a wide release in multiple theaters. I would definitely not recommend Beau is Afraid to everyone, and if this does look like your thing, then I would recommend to go see it and support the filmmaker so that we can get more films like this in mainstream wide release. I'm not really into rating movies with numbers or grades or stars, but I will say that I really did enjoy this film, although I do think Hereditary is still the best film that Ari Aster has made yet. But I'm very excited to see where he goes with this newfound level of freedom that he seems to have within A24 and with these bigger budgets that he's being given. So yeah, those are some of my rambly, unfiltered thoughts on Beau is Afraid. I hope you liked this video. Here's my Twitter, here's my Patreon, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.